Kathleen Wynne has informed me that she's going to be seeking the leadership of the party. She's going to be a very strong candidate. I'm very proud of all the contributions she's made to our party, to the government, but most importantly to Ontarians in her various capacities. As Minister, she was Minister of Education, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, Aboriginal Affairs. I'm sure I'm missing another one in there, but she brings a lot to the table. Transportation, of course, yeah, she brings a lot to the table.
Are you surprised there's only one so far, the lack of interest in your job?
Early days yet. Early days yet. I know that we're going to have a very hotly contested race. We're going to have lots of experienced people there. Yeah. I recall I was one of the last ones to get in. Had virtually no support from you, my good friends in the media. Was not very good at raising money, but found success in the end. So it's very, very difficult to call these things, and it's still early days. There are many, many parts to our responsibilities as elected representatives. We are going to shorten up our legislative sittings this year by 18 days, which means that we're going to sit for 78 days. That is far longer than any other legislature in the country. I noticed that my good friends in the media didn't remark on the fact that we sat for 2 weeks longer into the summer. And then we brought the House back 2 weeks sooner after the summer. We already tacked on 4 extra weeks. Not a lot of people seem to talk about that. So in the end, the net effect of this prorogation will be to curtail our sittings by 18 days. Now, what are we doing with those 18 days? I think that's a good question too, right? We're working very hard now with our Labour partners to secure some agreements that will help us achieve our fiscal objectives. And we've already got 2 big ones. One was we entered into an agreement with AMAPSIO. They're kind of the management professional group inside the public sector, signed a deal with 11,000 folks there to freeze our wages for 2 years, their wages for 2 years. Not an easy thing to do when there's a lot of heat being exchanged in the legislature. And the other thing that we did as well, which is very successful, is we've entered into an agreement with 3 public sector pension plans, which could have the effect of saving us up to $500 million every year for 3 years. So that's important work that we continue to do on behalf of Ontarians, even though the legislature is not sitting.
Prorogation means that this gas plant investigation is over, but what do you say to Ontarians who still want answers? I mean, we have this report out yesterday saying it's $1 billion more than you say. The Conservatives say it's up to $1 billion. What do you say to that?
I'm waiting for the day when somebody says actually it's $400 trillion. Because, you know, as they say, if Elvis says it, I got to print it. And so somebody said, what was the latest number?
1.3 billion.
1.3, yeah. Do I hear 1.7? When are we going to get to 2.8? Just wondering. Kind of an interesting game. But I think it's important that we stay focused on the facts. I think it's very interesting that after we released 56,000 pages of documents over a month ago now, that there's yet to be produced and introduced any new information that we already hadn't introduced into the public realm. So I think we should stay focused on the facts. The facts are that in total we're talking a $230 million cost. And there's actually some good news here too. Because apart from opinions offered by people who are interested in offering opinions and engaging in conjecture and speculation, the Auditor General, thanks be to God, is going to look at this for us. And in fact, and I'm very confident that he's going to confirm what we've said. So that's the good news in all of this, yeah. This is our new Southwest Ontario Economic Development Fund, right? Man, we had a hard time getting that through the House. Who could be against that? I would ask. Well, apparently some members in the opposition were. And that's yet further evidence of the dysfunction which characterized the legislature of late and further warranted prorogation. So we have an opportunity to cool down. And when we return to the House, we'll be engaged in the introduction of more light and the production of a little less heat, as I like to say. So those are the kinds of things that we're continuing to do to strengthen our economy. Let's remember what happened in recent months. The opposition say, well, they're very interested in advancing the public agenda. There's a procedural trick you can use. You stand up in the legislature and say, Mr. Speaker, I want to move adjournment of the debate. Every time you do that, you kill a half hour. Well, they did that 45 separate times. So they'll tell us, bring back the House so we can sit. But they rang the bells for a half hour on 45 separate occasions, right? So, on another occasion, they had a phony, spurious contempt motion. That killed a week. So during all of that, we're asking ourselves, when are we going to talk about the economy? When are we going to talk about jobs? When are we going to talk about healthcare? When are we going to talk about the environment? Right? So I know they say one thing, but on the other hand, they've been doing another. And I'm also fond of quoting George. He's the cameraman at Queen's Park. He's been there for 40 unbroken years. And he offered an observation to Scrum the other day. He said, in my 40 years at Queen's Park, I've never seen a House so partisan. So one of the responsibilities as I have as leader of the government is to make an assessment, and I've never seen that done, I've never seen the call for it in my 22 years at Queen's Park until now. Make an assessment as to whether the House is continuing to serve the public interest. And sometimes we engage in such matters of rancor that the House is characterized as one of dysfunction. It's no longer serving to advance the public interest. So that's what we're doing.